would like to welcome everyone to Faces on the Main Line. I'm your host, Rich Pagano. Today our special guest is Greg Lingo. Greg is the co-writer and executive producer of a new movie called Last Call. Greg, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Rich.
What we're going to do first, Greg, before I have plenty of questions because I know that people out there want to find out about this, what this movie is all about. We're going to show the trailer. So,
great.
We want to run that clip now.
Darby Heights. Some places never change.
Oh, hey, look who showed up.
It's good to see you, son.
You know, my friend, I will always miss you.
What are you still doing in the Heights?
I like it here. It's nostalgic.
Those are the days.
Hey, what's your boys tonight? Yeah, we'll have a good time.
Listen, I don't drink the way I used to.
Well, neither do we.
Those are the days.
A casino in Darby Heights.
You get this done, and I'll make you my partner.
Trying to get some signatures, because we're going to be building...
Hey, Mick.
Hey, how's it going? Call me. It's a petition for the new casino zoning. A casino would resurrect the area, don't you think?
Did you forget where you came from?
Hey. Oh, no, not this time.
The bucket.
You're gonna help me with the pub that was good to your family for all these generations.
You make I remember would never pass by the house without saying hello.
Hello, Mrs. C.
I heard that you sold out, turned your back on the neighborhood.
We still got the bucket.
Maybe there's some hope left in you. I see it.
It's Friday!
We have a 3-stain policy. If you have more than 3 stains on your shirt, you can't get in.
Can I see you again?
I doubt it.
Love.
Damn good to see you,
Good to
kid.
see you,
Damn
buddy.
good.
It's like you've been standing there for 12 years. You're still a health nut. I love it.
We've been working for years to restore the Heights.
You just go out and get signatures. You got a problem with that?
Here we go, fellas.
A captain never abandons his ship.
You guys break out in hides if you have to leave the Heights.
No reason to leave except if you go to the shore.
Unbelievable. Look at you guys. It's like you've been shellacked since 1997. I thought you'd grow up by now.
What, like you?
I'd like to say that I got the opportunity to watch the movie this week, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think for the people out there that haven't seen the movie, the first question I wanted to ask you, what is this story all about, and how did you decide to do it?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it started really, it was a collection of ideas. You know, I'm going to take you all the way back to like college when my buddies in college, I was talking about my home and my family and my friends, and they're like, there's just no way that's true. And they said, there's like a story there. There's a movie there. So it wasn't until late 2000, let's say 2010-ish, that I got together with a couple of my buddies, Billy Riley, Michael Bowen, and we started just jotting these stories down and tried to get them into actually a story. And then I was really fortunate. I met up with Paolo Pilati. He's from West Catholic, so
yeah,
he kind of got the neighborhood that we were trying to depict a little bit. And then he took with me that script to, kind of finalized it. And then from there it was, is talent going to be interested in this? And we were fortunate enough to meet a couple of great producers that had connections to talent, but you really don't know if anybody's going to enjoy it. So, I think the first weekend that we went out to talent, Taryn Manning came onto the scene and said, "Hey, I really like the script." So she was our Allie character, kind of mix girlfriend-ish. And then the following week, we sent it out to. And Bruce Dern came back and said, "Hey, I'm in." And not only was he in, but he gave us specific dates that he could shoot. So now we know like this is really going to happen. So it was pretty wild to get the feedback from people that they really enjoyed the script and the story, I think.
But when you're actually putting these ideas down, I mean, it's one thing to put ideas down. It's another thing to actually write a screenplay where you're giving all the detail.
Yeah. It it was challenging. It was I'm not a professional writer. I'm primarily a home builder. So I took a lot of time, and working with Paolo and the other guys, they helped me understand the 3-act sequence, and you got to intertwine a love interest in there, and just kind of what makes a movie a movie. And it took a long time. It took us way too long, probably 8 or 9 years, really, to get the script in a place where we felt comfortable of going out to the public with it.
I also wanted, growing up in Delaware County, I felt after watching it that it really was a movie that would appeal nationwide, not just to people. Obviously, people in Delaware County are going to be really interested, and but do you think it appeals nationwide too?
Yeah, I think the story, listen, it's an R-rated movie. There's profanity. If you can drown out the profanity and see the story in there, the story translates really well everywhere. It's a story about a town that really is kind of losing its identity. It's in the shadows of a big city, so it could be any suburban town. And it's this character that grows up, and he wants his entire life to leave the town. And he does leave the town, and he's successful outside of the town. But it isn't until he's drawn back in that he realizes just how special that town was. And I got to tell you for myself, I grew up my entire life wanting to get out of there. I got to get away from here. I'm going to get educated. I'm going to get out. And then it wasn't until I kind of started in business and started to realize that, hey, these people that I grew up with were truly genuine and good people, and it kind of draws you back. And right now, my wife and I, she's from Delaware County as well. We live 6 or 7 miles from where we both grew up, even though we both kind of wanted to fly the coop right out of college.
So you were letting people know really about why you stayed here, in a way.
Yeah, I think it's this attraction to, how you grew up is what made you. Your friends made you. In our case, we really wanted the film, we wanted the neighborhood to be part of the story, because it was so much of the part of the story for us, specifically from Delaware County, but anywhere around in the area. For us, our parents raised us for sure, but the neighborhood did too. And you're out there and you're friends, and you're getting in trouble together, you're avoiding trouble together, and you're learning kind of how to exist, if that makes sense. And that really has translated well for me professionally, because as a little kid, as a 9-year-old, I put my baseball glove on my bicycle handlebars and went across 2 major intersections and got to practice on time. And today's world, we're putting our kids in the car, making sure they have a snack for halftime, and dropping them off, and being there for the whole time, and talking to the coach after, how did they do? None of that happened for us. We were out there to figure it out on our own, which I think really benefited us.
Now, you grew up in Upper Darby. You now live in Radnor.
Correct.
What is that like, and how does that relate to the movie?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So for me, growing up, I played in the Central League for sports, and when we would go to play Lower Merion and Conestoga and Radnor, we knew things were different. We didn't know quite why or how. And it wasn't until my parents did a good job. I had no idea that we were broke until I went to college and I met people that weren't. And then I kind of strived to put my kids, I wanted my kids to grow up in a community, which Radnor is. They're able to walk to things. We don't have a big property. If they want to play basketball, they walk down to the middle school and shoot hoops. And that environment is kind of how we wanted to raise our kids, that, the neighbors, and who do you rely on, and who do you not rely on, and who do you stay away from, all those kind of, you don't want them to grow up the exact same way you did in terms of learning street smarts, but we really enjoy this community, and the community helped raise our kids as well, which was appealing to us.
I think it's important too. You didn't just go to college, but you went to Cornell. It's an Ivy League school. So you're really seeing maybe even more of a difference than someone who went to another school.
It was, I was very fortunate to be able to go to Cornell. It was it opened me up to a whole nother world out there. I have friends that are all over the country, all over the globe, quite frankly, and it was because of that school. And I think that college, for me, it was to learn how to relate and to succeed in life, and that really, the school prepared me really well for that. I couldn't have gotten through it had I not had the background that I had of kind of grinding things out. And, you know, I picked a hard major, got through it because of the hard work that I learned through sports and growing up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. How important was it that some of these actors were from Delaware County? I mean, here you have to do some casting.
Yeah.
And you want to try to include, I guess, as many Delaware County native actors.
Best that I could, yeah. So for me, it was really important. It was really important. I had the casting manager, producer that was going out broader to kind of actors in LA. But for me, I wanted, you know, I don't want to have to teach the actors the accent. I didn't want to have to teach actors the neighborhood. So Jamie Kennedy and I had grown up together. We both worked for Upper Darby School District in the summers, cutting grass, and on rainy days we'd be taking gum off the bottom of tables together. And he was hilarious. So he and my cousin Johnny Donahue are in the film. Both Bonner guys. Another Bonner guy from their class, Rob Holesky, he lives in Springfield now, is in the film. Pete Pastiglione from O'Hara is in the film. And then Sherry O'Terry, she also was from my neighborhood growing up. She's a little bit older than me, but she got it right away. So as many people as we could incorporate, we did. And it was kind of fun. One day I had a situation where we needed extras to fill a bar. And I said to the producers, hey, I think rather than paying these extras, I think I can get my buddies up here. So they said, well, we need a lot. The bar's got to be crowded. So I sent an email out, and sure enough, 60 of my buddies from growing up came, and they were like, that was their role. They were good with the bar scene. They understood the bar well.
Yeah, I recognized some people in that scene. So you had a lot of influence in who you wanted to cast?
Yeah, we did. I did. So we would as a team have a call and say, all right, we're going to now send it out to kind of the next person. And there was back and forth. You have to remember, I didn't know what I was doing here, and these guys did. So one of the ways that I've been successful in any kind of business is kind of relying on my team and hiring the best people. And I feel like I had that with the producers. So they knew who we could get, who we couldn't get, and we swung for the fences in some cases. For us to land Jeremy Piven was a huge deal for this. I mean, he's exceptional coming out of Entourage, and he's professional. You being a sports guy, you can tell when you're watching a game and there's one guy on the field that's just better than everyone else. I used to think that with like Deion Sanders. You could see that he's just a step ahead of everyone else. And Jeremy Piven was that for us, where he raised the level, nothing against the other actors, but he really took them up a notch and demanded somewhat perfection, and really, I think, it improved the entire production.
Yeah, he was excellent, and I really thought that the actor that played your father would be your father in the movie. McGee is his last name.
Yeah, Jack. He was great.
Wow, he's really a good actor. I remember seeing him in The Fighter.
Yep.
And other movies. So I got to ask this, because whenever you see actors interviewed on TV, they talk about, oh, we had to change the script. We did this scene. The script wasn't right. We had to rewrite it.
Totally.
Did that happen?
A lot. That happened a lot. And credit to the director, where he recognized the talent that he had. We were not going to tell Bruce Dern what to say necessarily. He was going to tell us what he was going to say, and then we were going to kind of cut it right. So there's this story of you have a script, and then you film it, and it's a little bit different. And then when you get into the editing, you then kind of chop scenes and put them together differently. So by the time what's on the output is stronger than maybe what the original story was. We added in Sherry O'Terry's scene. We felt like she added another component to our Mick character, kind of to further develop him intellectually, if that makes sense. And there's a couple of other scenes that we were able to kind of add in and tweak a little bit to further the story.
Plus, I thought she really added some comedy too.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
From Saturday Night Live, when she was on that show, I thought she was
she's
excellent there. Now, because I remember mentioning to someone about Crabs in a Bucket, and that was your original that was what you were originally going to call the movie?
Yeah, so why
the change?
We had a working title called Crabs in a Bucket, and the idea is if you throw a bunch of crabs in a bucket, that once one almost climbs out, the friends in the bucket pull it back in. So our main character, Piven's Mick, was kind of that crab that got out of the bucket. And when he came back towards the bucket, which was his neighborhood and his friends, they kind of roped him back in, kind of thing. So for our distributor, IFC Films, and by the way, we were really fortunate, as fortunate as we were to get Piven and Dern and some of the talent, to land a big-time distribution company like this was really exciting, and they're handling all of our North American distribution. IFC Films came to us and said, hey, a couple of things here on the title. It's a little bit confusing, which it was, and then they said, you really kind of got to stick to 2 words, and when somebody's flipping through Amazon Prime, it's just easier to understand if it's kind of short and concise. So that made sense to us, and I felt comfortable with the change.
And that for, excuse me, for our viewing audience, that IFC stands for
Independent Film. Yep, Independent Film Channel.
Now, do actors, somebody like Jeremy Piven, I guess what I'm asking is for him to do an independent film. I guess more and more actors are doing independent type films rather than the big Hollywood.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a lost art happening now where the big motion picture companies they're kind of sticking to formulas. Superhero, animation, heavy violence.
Yeah.
So for guys, especially guys that have kind of the comedic chops that our crew did between Jamie Kennedy and Jeremy Piven and Zach McGowan, for them, it's all about their availability. Are they available at the time we're shooting? And do they like the story? And inevitably, each person that came onto the set, I asked them, hey, why are you here? I asked Bruce Dern, why did you come? He doesn't have to do this. And he said, I really like the script. Matter of fact, he said, I went to the University of Penn, lived in Upper Darby for a little bit. I used to golf at Cobbs Creek Golf Course. Like, I get the people and the story, and it's fun. And so it was exciting for me to hear people say it was kind of the story that attracted them.
Yeah, he was a pretty good track athlete too at Penn.
That's what I'm told.
Yeah, runner. And you mentioned before Jamie. Did he start out as a comedian, a stand-up comic, and then got into acting, or did it?
He went out to Hollywood, and his first big break was to get in the movie Scream. After the time he got into Scream, he then had his own TV show. It was kind of like a candid camera type show. It was called The Jamie Kennedy Experiment on the WB. That's when he really got more into the comedy side of things. And then he kind of morphed into being a stand-up comic, and he's been doing that successfly for years now.
And you stayed in touch with him all during that time?
Yeah, mostly through my cousin Johnny, and the two of them are out there together. Johnny's a stuntman. They live near each other, and we kind of stayed in touch. Yeah.
I know people watching it, they're looking for, where's this place? Where's that bar located? Where was most of it filmed?
Yeah, so most of it was filmed in New Jersey, and it was filmed in New Jersey primarily for the budget. Being a small independent film, we were very budget conscious. What the producers were able to show me was, by filming in New Jersey, we got a tax credit that was unavailable in the state of Pennsylvania. By filming close to New York, we were in Bayonne, New Jersey. By filming close to New York, we were able to get cast and crew at a lower rate. Matter of fact, Kathy Moriarty, if you remember, she was an Oscar nominee from Raging Bull.
Right.
She said to us, hey, if you pick me up at my house and take me to the set, I'm good, I'm in. And she lived on Long Island. So we would have never gotten somebody like her if we were in Philadelphia. But then we also, about 20% of the movie takes place at the Jersey Shore. So by being on kind of near the water, we were able to make the shore scenes make sense. And Bayonne, it's funny, I brought the producers down to Upper Darby, actually, before we were scouting our locations. I took them to Cawley's Tavern on Westchester Pike. I took them to Callahan's on Westchester Pike. I took them to a Thursday night crab night at the Trophy Tavern in Drexel Hill. I wanted them to really get the flavor of the people. And after that kind of tour, they said to me, hey, we have the perfect town. It's Bayonne, New Jersey. And Bayonne was really welcoming to us. It is a gritty town that would remind you of parts of Delaware County. So we really feel like the filming, we did film in Philadelphia for a few days. We did film in Upper Darby for a few days, but we wanted kind of the bulk of the filming to take place in New Jersey.
Bayonne.
Yep.
The home of Chuck Webner, who
That's right.
who one of your actors played his part in the movie too.
Yeah, that's correct. Zach McGowan played in The Brawler.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I always thought that, especially Philadelphia, was trying to attract movie makers to come to the city. I didn't realize that it would be less expensive in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Film Office is doing a good job of attracting major pictures here. At the state level, there's just a more favorable tax credit rate now, and hopefully that changes in time because these independent films, they're hard to make. And it's the kind of the most expensive form of art if you think about if there's a musician, as long as they have an instrument and maybe a studio for a couple of hours, they can make a song. They have to have talent, obviously.
Yeah.
But the film, it's really labor and cost intensive to make, and I would love to see more of that done in this area. But for that reason, I wanted as many locals as we could have in it.
Yeah. You really got. I guess at some point you're saying, "Is this going to work?" But you really got some talented people. Was it when you got Bruce Dern that, hey, we're over this hump? Look who we just got.
Yeah.
He's a kind of a legendary actor.
Yeah, so Dern, so the order was we got Taryn Manning first, and then when we got Bruce Dern, then I went to Jamie and I said, hey, remember that script you'd read years ago? Well, Bruce Dern's in it. And he said, well, I'm in, with the Dern's in. And then we went to Jeremy Piven. And Piven was interesting because he's starting a stand-up comedy routine now. So he was attracted to the idea of working with Jamie because he knew about his stand-up ability. But at the same time, he said, hey, Bruce Dern's a legend. I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And once we had kind of that core, it was much easier to fill, the surrounding cast.
Yeah, that scene where he's in the bathrobe and the boots and the Bruce Dern, it's just classic.
It's really funny.
And it's like made for him,
He was great.
He was really good.
Before that scene, we said to him, hey, we have a pair of shorts we'd like you to wear. We had an Aaron Express t-shirt and here's a pair of shorts. And he said to us, I don't wear shorts for Quentin Tarantino. I'm not wearing shorts for you bozos. So we looked at each other and we said, well, how about boxer shorts? And he said, oh, I'll wear those. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. It was really funny. So but he was great.
Yeah. Well, it is a comedy. Well, would you consider it? Was that the category you would put it in?
Yeah, there's a little drama there. There's a story, and the story can be as deep as you want to read into it. There's a little bit of gentrification happening in the neighborhood, which is real. It's happening kind of all around, and it's this tug and pull between keeping what you know and changing for the better or worse a town. So, being a real estate developer, the one thing they teach you with script writing is write what you know. So that's kind of what I knew. It's not autobiographical at all, but the Piven character, I had him as a real estate developer for that reason, just so it was kind of relatable to me.
Yeah, I'm because there are obviously times in the movie when it really makes you laugh, but it seems like there is a message, though. What in your mind? When people walk away from that movie, you want them to feel good that they just saw a good movie. It was funny. But is there a message there?
Yeah, I think the message is kind of remember where you came from. Don't turn your back on where you came from. Be proud of where you came from. I think a lot of that type of messaging. But we want people to leave with a smile. It's an hour and 40 minutes of your life, and we want you to have had fun. Because you got to remember, this is a time where there's not a lot of fun happening. The economy is kind of in shambles. It seems like it might be getting better here.
Yeah.
But COVID for the last year with the pandemic and unemployment and that type of stuff. So we wanted to make people laugh. And there's not a lot of comedy out there.
Yeah, and it's a feel-good movie. I felt that way after watching it. Let me ask you this. is there another movie on the horizon?
That's a good question. No, I really enjoyed the writing part of it. So I've sketched some ideas together. Maybe I'd like to stay in the comedy genre. I think that's it's fun. It's rewarding, and yeah, I think I could see doing it again.
You really would. So this wasn't just a one-time.
No.
Hey, I'm going to write about growing up in Upper Darby and do this.
Yeah,
film.
no, I'd like to continue exploring, and it would be a different type of comedy than this, but I'd like to look into doing more.
Yeah, yeah. I saw this movie this past week, and I think what I want to do too is let the people know, because I've talked to some people. Well, how do I see it?
Yeah, sure.
What theaters? I know I saw it on demand. I have Verizon at home, and I watched it right at my house.
Yeah, the easiest way with the pandemic and just being safe, it's easiest to stream it at home. So it's on both Comcast and Verizon on demand. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on YouTube TV, iTunes, Apple TV. Kind of most ways that you would stream. It's currently not on Netflix. We're excited that the movie will be picked up by Showtime, which is pretty remarkable. Yeah. So after this kind of window of being available to streamers, it'll then go to Showtime for a period of time, which is pretty remarkable.
So it's not like, wow, I'm done this movie, I don't want to do another one. You could do another one.
Yeah,
it's something that you.
It was really an invigorating experience. Yeah. Getting involved in the arts, you see kind of just how important that is to society. And, for me, this is a little bit of the underdog story of even making it, of even being able to attract these types of talent and having it set in Philadelphia, which was really cool. So now I would love to do it again.
Well, listen, Greg, I want to thank you for coming by and wish you all the luck with this movie.
Thank you.
Like I said, I saw it and I thought it was outstanding.
Thanks, Rich.
For myself and everyone here at Mainline TV, I want to thank you for tuning in to Faces on the Main Line. See you next time.